Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the finale, the grand finals of the All Hallows League 2023. My name is Spokerman, and on the caster's desk today, I am going to be joined by Carrie McBarry for Eternal versus Elysium. Carrie, how are you doing today?
I am so excited. I've been bouncing in my chair for the last hour, ready to get this on the way. It's not a best of 3. It's not a best of 5. It's a best of 7. We've hopefully going to get all 7 games for you today, folks. And these two teams have been so dominant throughout the bracket, as they always are. Very well-known teams. So it's very exciting to see these guys go head-to-head once again, Spoker.
A true gauntlet of champions in the best of 7. It's going to be very, very exciting and a very long afternoon/evening for a lot of our viewers. But before we talk a little bit more about what we're sort of going to be expecting to see and what we're actually going to be seeing today on the killers and on the maps, we do need to introduce our hosts for today as well, who are going to be providing you with some analytics and some content in between the games to keep everything nice and smooth and fresh. So say hello everyone to Edgar and Cole. How you doing, guys?
Oh, I'm just doing absolutely wonderful. What can I say? I've been waiting, got pulled in last minute to do hosting duties, but you know what? Wouldn't have it any other way. These are probably the 2 best teams in the world right now, and I would not have it any other way to be sitting in on this, bringing all the action to you guys just at home, trying to get through everything. We have a very special guest as well. We have Rat, someone with a lot of experience in the competitive Dead by Daylight scene, about 3 years going on now. So definitely someone who can provide a lot of information in the background to help out during the games. In the breaks, we're going to be getting some top tier analysis. And as well, I'm going to be joined by my co-host today, Cole. How are we doing, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing great. I've been waiting for this day for a very long time.
Awesome stuff, guys. Thank you so much. So they're going to be providing entertainment for us in between the games, as I was just saying. But also, I'm really excited to hear Rat's coming in. I'm sure Barry and I will definitely have to drag him into the game during the sets to get some insight in some moments. But hopefully we won't keep him too busy. Now, Barry.
Hello.
Out of all the sets we're going to be seeing today in this best of 7, right?
Yes.
Which one do you reckon you're the most excited for, just off the bat?
Oh, my heart always is with Billy. Billy is my favourite. But seeing the games we've had all the way through this event, which I'll be honest, has been my favourite event with DBDLeague, because we've had slightly different maps for most of our killers. We've had interesting sets and teams playing killers they're not too familiar with, because it's all been picked ahead of time by our production team. So these killer sets I'm most excited for is probably Xenomorph or Singularity. Or Ghost Face. I can't decide, but I say those 3 because Xenomorph and Singularity, they're newer killers to the game. The meta is still developing for them, so there's a lot of kind of snowball moments just when you think one team might kind of whitewash it. Like if we had a nurse, for example, and had 2 survivors slugged on the ground, you're like, okay, it's kind of over for our team here. With these newer killers, there are so many interactions which we've just never seen yet in competitive Dead by Daylight, which means there's always, it's never quite over till it's over, and we've seen that time and time again throughout this tournament. So Xenomorph, our 2nd set of the day, and Singularity, our 6th set if we get that far. Those are going to be my 2 favorites. How about you, Spoker?
Well, I think I have to really go for the basic choice here, and I'm honestly probably the most excited for our first set, which is going to be the Scratch Mirror Myers set on the Larry's Memorial Institute. So I don't think it's been done in the past. Maybe a while ago actually, and my memory just isn't serving me correctly. But obviously, a Scratch Mirror Myers set is not something you see very often in comp DVD, let alone the grand finals of All Hallows League. So I'm so excited for it.
I feel like it sums up the league and the event we've had though really well. It's just kind of a bit of fun, a bit of chaos, but at the same time, our survivors are going to need to be on point, because my instincts tell me Myers is not going to get a lot of downs here. So if you give away a down by just taking a slight lapse in concentration, not quite watching your corners, you're going to get jump scared by Myers, and you could lose the first set for your team in the grand finals, which these guys have worked very hard for. We've had so many sets over the past few weeks, and our viewers at home, I know you've been enjoying them as well. So we don't want to see a team just kind of crash out, a bit like we did with Tremor and Eonyx, I think it was in the Looms semi-finals. We had a bit of a funny moment with Billy on Mount Ormond, and they just ended up crashing out. Well, while it was fun to watch, it was a bit sad, so I'm sure both these teams are going to be ready, really up for it, and aren't going to be thinking about the comical kind of first set we've got on. The reason I say that more, though, Spoker, is because Elysium have been the team making it through on the winners' side of things. They're in the winners' brackets path, and I think that's got a little bit to do with the roster change we saw. We saw Zaka move from Team Eternal to Team Elysium, and in his place, we got Excice from Sequence and the Magic from Luminescence, I think it was, coming into Eternal to kind of take his place. But that roster switch has kind of swung things for now in terms of Elysium's favor. They beat Eternal in the winners finals 3-1. Is that a pattern we're going to repeat, do you think, in the grand finals? We're going to see Elysium more likely to take it over Eternal, or Eternal going to be a little bit angry about their previous defeat?
Honestly, to be quite honest, I really feel like that Eternal have sort of lost their footing a little bit towards the end of the All Hallows League here, but when they came back up from the losers bracket against Eonyx and the performance they put on, I definitely feel like that Eternal is building up that momentum again to get back up to where they belong, which is in this winners bracket grand finals. And I just wanted to quickly talk about this as well. We did see Elysium and Eternal facing off earlier, knocking Eternal down to the losers bracket. And since Elysium has been undefeated in this double elimination style tournament, we've actually come up with a very interesting rule for Elysium's advantage for going through the tournament undefeated. If Eternal were to reach 4 set points at any point of the best of 7, Elysium will be given the option to pick a set, nullify its results, and that set will be replayed to basically determine if Eternal is able to take that set again to earn that 4th set point. And this is a little advantage for Elysium for basically going through the whole tournament undefeated without having to play out another best of 7. So yeah, I really like that.
As fun as another best of 7 would be, I would like to go home and see my family for Christmas. So we're not going to do that. We're just going to replay that one set. But yeah, you're right. A little advantage there for Elysium going into our final set. And just to wrap things up before we do finish, I do want to shout out some of the other teams we've had so far. And Eternal for being Eonyx, who were such a threat throughout this tournament. You know, they took some really big wins over Misery, Calamity. They took out Team Tremor, who had Wispy, who was just playing some of the best killer I've seen all tournament. So maybe it's sad not to see Wispy in grand finals. But these are our 2 teams we've got coming up. I'm so excited. As our host said before, the best teams in the world, unquestionably, and it's all going down in just a little bit.
Yeah, the nerves are already starting to build up, not just for us on the production desk, I imagine, but for the teams as well. But I also quickly wanted to bring Rat in for a moment just to talk about the Tier 1 Myers set, because I know Rat's had a lot of things to say, and I want to at least voice a few of those before we go into that, because that will be our first set of the evening here. So Rats, tell us a little bit more about your stance on the choice of Tier 1 Myers.
Yo, hello, first of all, thank you for having me. Yeah, the Myers set is a great set for comp, in my opinion. It's a very unique set in the sense that the Myers, it's like a game where both teams on Survivor and Killer can take the upper hand really quickly if the game goes downhill. Like it can end up with the Survivors that just completely zero stage and obliterate the Killer, or it could end up with a Killer that just gets a lot of tags and ends up in this position where he can allow to never let the Survivors reset. And both these things can happen. The Survivors need to make sure to not give those tags. The Killer needs to make sure to not waste any time and get their hands on those tags, right? So it's gonna be very interesting to see how this is gonna go if the communication from the Survivor team is on point. Which if it's not, then as I said, the game can go downhill. Once the first 2 or 3 tags come in, and the Killer has an idea where everybody is and when and where people are resetting with that hour reading from the Tier 1 Scratch Mirror, he can, with a Sloppy Butcher, for example, allow the teams to never reset. And that's so punishing and will therefore end in a game where nobody will be working gens for the remainder of the trial, just trying to get away from the Killer to not get downed. And also with the new balancing for the specific set, we have no perk restrictions at all. So I would personally expect a sloppy butcher, a play with the food, because otherwise the killer might not even be able to chase anything at all. On the survivor side, we might expect the obsession to just straight up hide at all costs, and maybe in lockers to not get found and give those stacks. I would potentially even expect to not even see a corrupt. We'll see. I'm excited, and I'll hand it back to you, Carl.
Thank you very much, Rats. And with all that being said and done, I'm sure there's so much more that we would love to talk about. But as we load up this first trial here, Carrie, this is where it's all going to start. This is where Elysium is going to be starting on the killer side with Xeno on the Myers against the survivors of Eternal. How are you feeling for this first game?
I mean, I would love to give a prediction. I feel I've been pretty good throughout the season with my predictions. I cannot comment on this. I think this is just going to come down to nerves, composure in the grand finals. Both of these teams have had such experienced players, and I think that's what Ionix, that's what allowed them to get all the way. And yes, they fell in losers finals, but they took third place because they had some seriously experienced players on their team that really helped them. So Lethal Pursuer letting him know where a few of them are. He's got the Scratch Mirror add-on and the Boyfriend's Memo that plus 50% lunge when you're in tier 1, which is what he'll always be in because he cannot tier up. But as a replacement for him not being able to tier up and get instant down on his survivors, he's able to see them through the walls, and I think he's spotted his first survivor here.
Yeah, I'm honestly really intrigued about seeing this choice of Lethal Pursuer. I'm not too sure if Rats was touching on that earlier or not. I was just distracted by his lovely voice, but we're seeing some really interesting mind games at the palette here, as obviously the Scratch Mirror interaction at these sort of loops, it's very, very difficult to actually get the hit there. We see Xeno not quite being able to get the tag, has to go and break that palette space.
Yeah, the hits are going to be everything. We said a little bit before, if the killer gets a few downs, we're going to go crazy because it's very difficult when you're playing against the best survivors in the world to find someone when you're just in tier 1, but now a little bit of blood loss, but I think he's dropped the chase. Yes, that blood loss is going to go away as he's trying to find them. No, I think he still is in chase. What's a little bit of a sound on my end? Oh, but it's Play With Your Food. The Play With Your Food add-on coming in. He's found Dan. Now, can he find this hit? This is the important part. Chasing the corrupted area. Oh, and I think Dan's got a little bit greedy. Not expecting to Play With Your Food. And that's the first tag for Xeno.
Yeah, it kind of surprises me there. Dan obviously playing really, really greedy at that pallet, knowing that, yeah, he is the obsession. He does need to be careful of Play With Your Food, and we're going to be building up the stacks again, starting chase through the window. Not even going to go back to break the pallet. Instead, just committing to this chase here to try and get that first down and keep those Play With Your Food stacks up as high as possible. As there we get the second, we hear the footsteps. We're obviously going to be able to see him through the walls as well. We see survivors on generators as well, pushing them off the objective and trying to just, have as much pressure as possible in the trial here. Very quickly dropping. I feel like this would be a very playable pallet, though.
Yeah, this isn't going to be safe with 2 stacks to Play With Your Food. Dan doing an excellent job with the check spots. Oh, but he doesn't want to stay there for too long. Maybe just didn't quite have enough speed to get Dan over the vault. And Dan heads away to try and find something else. Something else he can just prolong this chase as generators pop in the background. There's 2. I wouldn't be surprised if we got a third one because it was by that gen we were just chasing around. So maybe that's why it's a little bit delayed. But 3 solo gens off spawn. What else can you expect? Corrupt not doing amazing work. And now we're at a very short pallet. It is crucial. Xeno finds this hit if he wants to give Elysium an advantage in the set. He gets the swing, but gets validated through the pallet.
Absolutely incredible chase by Dan to start off this trial, and my goodness, this is the point where body blocks are going to be coming in, and obviously because there's no choice of sloppy butcher here, it won't be as difficult to get these resets out, so our survivors can afford to play for these body blocks. But is Xeno going to use the stalk to try and go through? No, straight up goes for the tag onto Nightlight, gets the pallet drop and stun as well, but the chase is continuing onto Dan, who's going to get caught out here, and he's going to get grabbed off of the pallet.
What a blunder for Team Eternal. The first grab coming in with still 3 gens to go. Yes, 1 might pop soon, but that's an early down against the tier 1 Myers, and he's in the basement. Oh, this is just getting going from bad to worse for Team Eternal.
Yeah, no, that's a very awkward spot to be getting grabbed out of, but we've got the third generator being completed with a fourth almost there, a fifth, not quite, but still very decent progress being made on the gens here. Excise doing a good job here, but we're going to be interrupting the magic here on a not-so-progressed generator, so gen number 4 should definitely be getting complete here, and Xeno should definitely be going back to this basement to make sure no one's checking up on the save here, because the aura reading on Scratch Mirror is really not something to be messed around with.
It is powerful, and I want to bring in Rats, our analyst here, because I've got a question. Is it worth these survivors going for it, or do they want to stick around these gens, which are pretty close to the hook?
Oh, it's a very difficult situation here, because they simply cannot get close to the hook and get the save freely, right? It's a basement. They need to, like, if they go for a save, potentially trade. Double save is not an option. 2 people are injured. It's going to be a really interesting situation how they're going to deal with this. I expect them to let them hit second for sure. Maybe even let them die on a hook and just push the last gen through and get a 6th stage with no one here.
Wow, so a sacrifice. Dan could be an early sacrifice after maybe a little bit of miscommunication from Team Eternal, because we know Nightlight would have seen Myers go in that direction, but Dan just seemed to pop out in front of Myers. An early Christmas gift for Team Elysium.
Now, I'm just very intrigued by the fact that Xeno was committing to the chase onto Dan, who was heading over towards the library of Delirious, as opposed to going for Nightlight, who took the hit, gave the pallet stun, and tried to make distance, whereas I think he would have had similar distance onto both survivors. Once again, we are seeing Nightlight not quite getting caught out. We'll go for the pallet drop and try and rotate in. Are they going to send in 2 people for the save? We only see Nightlight right now. I don't see anyone else.
Yeah, they might have to send it in, but this is a tricky spot to get in. Myers can just body block it. As long as he doesn't stalk, he's still available. Oh, but a little bit of a gap, and it's Nightlight going to go in for it. I think they have, and he's giving it up, but Nightlight backs away. Lets Dan die on hook. Dan is dead. The final generator pops, and No It is now in play.
Yeah, this is where things get extra scarier, because even though Scratch Myers is very slow, the Know It 4% haste is going to come in a bit clutch, and the Magic gets a beautiful pallet stun off, and it doesn't really have a lot of places to go here after... Oh, actually, wait, we do have the God pallet over on this side of the map. That is huge for the Magic, because this is heading towards the door that's probably actively getting opened at the moment, so I'm not too sure if this chase is going to get committed to.
Oh,
no!
the
Magic's getting stuck on the obstacles here a bit. Uh-oh.
Oh, these are the moments we talked about in the grand finals, the ones you cannot give away, and they just run into a barrel at the worst possible timing. Xeno has the stalk. He knows where everybody is. Is he going to try and defend in totem? Is he going to go for more than 6 stages? Oh, this is going to be tight, because they're going to get the hook on, but if they can cleanse Know It, they can definitely get an evacuation.
I'm not too sure how... I don't think how this is very rescuable, as we see Nightlight and Excise both heading towards the door, double checking to make sure if No It spawned at that door, which it hasn't. So I think this is going to be the inevitable end for the Magic and the 6th stage 2K for Xeno, unless he wants to go for more. And this is as law accurate as you can get with Myers, just looking at them through the wall, just standing ever so still as we watch them leaving the trial. 6 stages and 2 kills for Xeno for Team Elysium. I think up next we're going to be having Bubble Zava on the Myers for Team Eternal, but in this well, not really a short break, we're going to be swapping over to the host to entertain you a bit and talk about the match. The Myers for Team Eternal, and with a win con of having to get better than 6 stages with the 2 kills, this is going to be really, really interesting as to how the playstyle will change here a bit, as we do see a change in perks already.
Yeah, we've got Agitation coming in instead of Lethal Pursuer. So as beautiful as Rats was, he couldn't predict this one. It's Agitation in, which is going to make it a little bit faster when he's carrying players. I can't quite see it. Maybe he wants to get to basement, saw how strong it was. That could be the idea behind it. We'll have to find out as Bubblestar takes our first chase. A pretty simple win condition, as you pointed out. He just needs more than 6 stages, more than 2. Well, if he gets 2 kills, he would have tied it, at least. Zaka gets hit early. That is pretty big, but I think he's going to leave and go. No, he's just ending play with your food.
Yeah. And an interesting thing with play with your food as well, I feel like a lot of people make the common mistake of still following behind the survivor, but just turning their camera around. It doesn't actually really make that much of a difference. It's the distance that matters. So if you turn your camera away and stop for a bit, you'll still get your stack, just like we're going to see here from Bobo. Really well executed.
Wow, you know you're playing with your food technique. I can tell it's a favourite perk of yours to run. Here we go then. 2 stacks on. I almost said Bloodlust kicking in. I must correct myself if I said it earlier there. It's Tier 1 Myers. Tier 1 Myers is not going to be getting Bloodlust, but he's going to be getting his second stack of play with food. Make that a third if you can get far enough away. Okay, he is now. Zucker in danger. 3 stacks of play with your food. That's an extra 15% onto Tier 1 Myers. And Zach has got to be careful. Are we going to get some body blocks in?
Yeah, we do see a first hit tank from V1 already. Zaka having to run very, I guess, precarious parts of the map here as we are sort of going between some of our active generators, but at the same time, we need to be close by to our players who can take body blocks here. And with this 3 stacks of play with your food, this is just going to feel like an almost regular M1 killer chase, if not a little bit more difficult on the survivor side, as that 15% haste all added up will close that distance very quickly. And we're now seeing exactly why that is so dangerous.
Yeah, that's big, an early one, and now we're going to see agitation. Can he find his way to a basement? Oh, it's pretty far away, but he's got the play with your food stacks. He's got the agitation. He's going to send Zucker straight to the basement. Punishment for the early tag. Virtual gets healed up, and this is tricky now. Bubblesport can definitely play for the win condition.
Yeah, we're seeing the first hook at 5 technically generators remaining, but the first one has been completed with the second one not too far away. Our survivors rotating around trying to get to position for the save here as we have Xeno getting caught out a bit by Bobo, trying to work that gen come in really cheeky in true Xeno fashion. Has a very safe pallet to play with. And we've really lost a lot of our play with your food stacks, but Bobo has still got one to play with, and the rescue has just happened in the basement as well, so we can get some more here even.
Yeah, I think he was trying to body block Zach a little bit. He probably wanted to get more done with that because he can get the tunnel out if possible. No, still have the BT by the time you get to that pallet, which means Zaka has a chance to go even further away. Just 1 stack at the moment, and does Buzzball want to stay composed, take a step back and get another stack? That is exactly what we're seeing. In comes the second stack, and he's going to be straight onto Zach as well, unless he chooses to switch targets with Xeno. No, he's going to try and get this first kill first.
Yeah, but Bubba's sort of trapped between a rock and a hard place with 2 pallets needing to break, which would have inevitably given his position away.
Oh no! Oh, that's a pallet down.
Xeno actually pre-dropped the pallet, because I don't think he dropped it earlier when we saw Bubba here before, so second gen's been completed, and a really nice play from Xeno though, which actually saved him.
Yeah, and I'm just so happy, Spoker, we got a better on our screen. The tanky survivors, we saw with that flashlight usage as well. And we saw early in the set before that 2 stacks wasn't enough to mind game round it. But Xeno's going to stun straight away, making some distance. But could he be caught a little bit off guard here? We've used some of the pallets. He's got a very short finner, but against 2 stacks to play with your food, this could be a little early death for our Bill. No exhaustion perks to work with. No perks at all. Gets another pallet drop. Bill, the best survivor, coming in clutch for Team Elysium. Grenout takes the body block.
Very, very nice body from Grenout. It looked a little bit awkward with how they were positioning at the pallet there, expecting Bubba not to be going for a double back, but he did sort of respect it a bit, and I think that threw them off a little bit, but not committing this chase to Grenout though, heading back to maybe go back for Xeno, or to at least try and keep this 3-gen intact, which I think is the most important part about this set, is Myers being able to more or less hold on to a 3-gen. Once all these resources start getting taken away, as Rats has been mentioning earlier, it's going to be a very difficult time for our survivors.
Yeah, and we're seeing a little bit, I don't know if Bubba's also regretting not having potentially Sloppy Butcher on. Like, yes, we got the agitation down to the basement, but the way he's playing it, he's getting a lot of injuries here, and it would be lovely to prevent the heals as much as he can. He finds another chase back onto Renata. V1 taking a chase around this pallet, but with no stacks to play with food, this is going to be tricky. The pallet comes down, and I think we're going to have to abandon this one. No, he's committed. He breaks the pallet, forces a little bit of zoning into V1, but I think they should have the legs to find a window or something to use if they come round into the library. Oh, this is going to be tricky. 50-50. The Vault doesn't go for it. Scared of the extra lunge from Bubblesmore. Can he make this pallet in time? Oh, it's going to be so close. No, he gets the pallet down and just dodges death. And now for Eternal, you're starting to worry a little bit. After an early hook in basement, he went off, targeted Xeno, gave up that hook in basement, and now has 5 stages to get with just 1 generator left.
And not just any generator though, Barry. I'm not too sure, but I think this was one of the 3-gen generators being completed. Bobo has lost his setup over at the main side of the map with a really tragic gen split now. This is going to be really, really tough for Eternal to be taking the first set point here.
And I think what we're seeing as well, I'm sure Rats will agree with me, we can get his opinion on it. After losing Zaka in the basement, he hasn't been able to really find him again. He hasn't been able to get as many stacks as we'd like, and we saw a lot of these chases, especially that big one onto V1. He just didn't quite have the speed to do anything. So now every survivor's been healed up. It's going to be really tough. But as I say that, Zaka gets healed. Zaka gets found again. And Rats, is there any chance that Eternal win this?
Oh, it's gonna be very interesting for sure. Because, like, look, Zaka even tries to not give him the stacks by not running, right? But, like, yeah, once they got out of basement and they made it to the bottom side of the map, Bubba was like, nah, I'm not gonna commit to that because it's too much of a waste of time, but at the same time giving away his perk of not getting any stacks, right? Now in a position to even, well, get 5 stages in endgame, well, this is 3 stages, it'll be difficult.
Look, he has to slug. He has to slug here because he needs at least 6, well, he needs 6 stages to tie it, and more stages, but no one has been found straight away. Horrible RNG for Bubba. They have 3 survivors ready to go and find it, and they found it straight away. Granout is going to cleanse it, and I think Bubba is going to know it's over.
Yeah, I think with that no-one cleanse, it is going to be very, very tough, if not possible at all, but Bubba's able to clutch this one out, and our survivors still playing really, really well, spacing, being as far away as possible not to get caught out by that scratch mirror. And it's really crazy. From what looked to be a very promising start from Bubba, it's just turned into what looks to be probably only a 3-stage, as Elysium doesn't need to go for this rescue here at all. They could just take the outs from the opposite door. Everyone's healthy. They could go for the save if they technically really wanted to, but they know that they have the stages to take this first set point. Exactly right.
Yeah, I'm hoping we're going to see 3 survivors heading towards the exit gate, and we are indeed. Elysium closing it out in pretty fabulous fashion. Yes, they had that early down onto Zaka, but they recovered well. They got the heals in, and Bubsford just wasn't able to capitalize on his early pressure. So it is Elysium taking the Scratch Mirror Tier 1 Myers set over Eternal, and they go. They start off this grand final 1 set in the lead. Remember, it's a best of 7, so it's going to be first to 4 sets. But if it is Eternal first to 4, Elysium can choose to replay one of the sets as they, because they beat Eternal last week, right? I think it's only fair. But we're going to head over to the hosts and Rat, who I'm sure wants to continue his analysis of the situation while that gen popped right in his face. How rude from the gen.
Footsteps of the survivors where they're rotating to. I really, really like this feature, and I feel like it's not something that really gets utilized a whole lot in your normal public matches, but really good tracking onto V1 in the main building, but not quite being able to land the tail attack. We have a very powerful window at the main building here, so going to be breaking that breakable door, and I really like the playstyle that Nightlight's going for here.
Yeah, that was almost a beautiful tag through main window. And these players throughout the turret spending so long down in the underground, it's just lovely to see a bit of different style for Nightlight, who gets blinded but gets the hit onto Zaka anyway. Shack pallet is dropped, but so is Zaka.
Wow, that was so incredible by Nightlight, but the flashlight save comes out. I'm not sure if that's Kexo or V1, but a flashlight save with the cheeky blind to follow it up. The momentum of this game is absolutely insane right now. No side is got the upper hand really at this point. Both sides are really fighting for a tooth and nail.
What a start to this game we've had. Beautiful play from Nightlight, but the survivors answer right back in his face. A beamer to the front, and now a turret, but he's able to deal with that one. And that is something we're going to see, right? Survivor team play with the turrets. Turret usage is really, really important. So we're going to see later on in the game how that develops. Whoa. And another beautiful hit from Nightlight. Those pickups aren't safe against Xeno, and can he avoid the beamer this time? Yes, he can. No hill for the survivors to run up and jump scare in. He's going to get a middle hook. We don't know if it's a pain res hook yet, just because we have spectator bug. We'll see the stack go down, though, which confirms that a gen has just been blown up. The most progressive gen has just been blown up, and he's also got pop to the right.
Wow, that turret sort of mucking up the power a little bit here, but Nightlight will quickly recovering it as we see a very quick unhook onto Zaka, though. Does have a very decent filler to muck around with in the meantime here, but instead is going to be taking the distance over towards this truck, going for the window here. Stuck in a really awkward spot, but a really well-timed vault from Zaka, which is going to reveal, I believe, the life as well to get that distance back towards the mid-map, back towards the pallets, and Nightlight just needs to continue this chasing to get that tunnel out, and manages to get the hit tag through Xeno.
Yeah, we've seen a lot in competitive Xenomorph game sets that body blocks are really difficult to take against this killer. The tail is so small and so slippery, you can just get around your teammates, and because of that, Zaka goes on to second stage pretty early. It was a close rescue to the killer, and it happened fairly early on. Zaka did pretty well in their chase, great pathing to make some distances as well as their exhaustion perk, but they've gone down pretty quickly. It's a second stage for Zaka. Pop goes the Weasel onto this gen, and things are looking good for Nightlight right now.
Yeah, this is exactly the kind of position you'd want to be in with a match that's so, nerve-wracking, so important. Eternal needs to get that set point back up against Elysium, and I think, Nightlight's going to have to go for a very tried and true strategy of placing himself very strategically sort of around the hook, but it's actually getting a little bit audacious here, checking up on the generators not too far away from the hook to try and at least go for either a tag or something even more. We catch out V1 trying to go in for the save at the hook. We can only expect that somebody else is going to be coming in at any moment now as well.
Yeah, we're going to have to trade here because hook grabs are no longer a thing. You just take the hit onto the person coming in and hit them again as they get the save. But he's not going to hook V1. He's going to pursue his chase onto Zaka, whose pathing has betrayed him, but in comes the body block. Now, can they body block through here? No! The tail hits the truck instead, and that's the worst case scenario for Nightlight because he has to spend time now hitting Ketsuko, and he's going to go back to V1. Realizes he can't get the tunnel out. No! He spots Zaka, reads the pathing beautifully, and is going to try and get this down. We're at the unique tier now, coming round the short side. Can he play the mind games? Xenomorph, a short one, hard to see through the cracks of Autohaven tiles. He gets around, and I think he's got the distance, but whips the tail attack. Now the life gets used, and in comes the body blocks from the survivors.
Xeno coming in to take a hit against a Xeno, but is not going to be getting tagged. Manages to juke out the tail, and we've lost the chase onto Zaka. Now, don't get confused, ladies and gentlemen. This is Xeno, a very well-renowned player in the comp scene, and obviously Xenomorph being abbreviated for Xeno. It can get a little confusing at times. But I think we need to get this chase back onto Zaka, and I think we have it.
Yeah, we have found it, and a second chance, another bite at the cherry here for Nightlight, whose add-on will help him reduce the stagger from that flamethrower, but he still needs to find this now to Zaka. The 1v1 comes out, and we've seen the flamethrower placements are perfect. They've told Zaka to go to Shaq. That's what the flamethrowers are. He can buy more time for his team, and is now going to go around the backside of Shaq. Will he disconnect to another tile? No, he's got another survivor coming in. It's Xeno once again against Xeno. Xeno on Xeno, who is going to Xeno the Xeno.
Oh god, Barry, you really got me there. Oh no! Nightlight missed the flame turret with the tail attack and is going to get taken out of power as we continue this chase onto Zaka. We have put so much time into trying to get this tunnel out, and I think Elysium is going to be capitalizing on this perfectly by prioritizing those gens and even having people come in for hit tanks at just the right time if needed. Zaka really starting to run out of resources, but Xeno is here to do Xeno things and does manage to take the hit, I would have to assume, at this really, really awkward rock. Nightlight is trying to wait for the power to come back a bit, I guess. And I don't know if Zaka... Yeah, Zaka is still here, just crouching at the rock.
Yeah, and we're seeing the strength of the team play, but what a whip from Nightlight. He whiffed a few earlier, which he cannot do in the grand finals, but he gets that one to Zaka, and now is looking to bounce back. He gets another down, and now things are starting to turn around just a little bit for Eternal. He finds 2 quick downs. This will be the kill onto Zaka, and if he can still get Xeno onto a Painter's hook, which he might because that gen's there, this could be really big. Unfortunately, those gens might pop just in time. He has to get Xeno onto the Painter's hook before this all happens.
And yeah, I think we did see a Painter's hook in the mid-map. I don't know how far away it's going to be for Nightlight to make it there, but there's the hook right here. The last gen is so close, and it gets completed at the very last second. The no-it's going to be coming into play, and Elysium has a little bit more to grasp onto after a very devastating 2-man slug. Nightlight is bringing it back, but Elysium is cranking those engines.
Yeah, at least he got the kill onto Zaka, so now he can confirm at least 6 stages, but in comes the Know-It, takes down Kexco, and now he's going to be looking for the tunnel out. Doesn't want to get too greedy at any point here, as Xeno heads towards the other side of the map, so hopefully he can get the pickup onto Xeno. He goes towards a flamethrower. Again, great team play by the survivors, and with that, he's going to have to head back and hook Kexco, who gets picked up very quickly.
Yeah, I think we just have to assume that whoever was still in the area here was gone for the pickup. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Xeno is still the one in the area here with Kexo, both injured and in a very awkward position. Never mind, it is V1, sorry. V1 is the only healthy survivor right now, and with no one's still being up though, I'm surprised that Nightlight is not actually going for V1 here, and instead manages to catch out Xeno, trying to go for the totem.
He gets the hook onto Xeno, but, you know, this is only 2 stages onto Xeno. He could have had another 3 if he went to Kexco. So he's going to hook this and hope he can get something more. The hook is right there, and I believe he saw another survivor running around. No, we've got V1 on the door, and Kexco is here as well. It's just going to be 6 stages for Xenomorph. Not the greatest result there.
Wow. What an insane recovery from Elysium, and what an insane performance from Nightlight as well. So there's so much to unpack from this trial that I'm sure our hosts in just a minute are going to be very excited to get into the nitty-gritty details of how this trial went down. But I have to say, just before we switch over, that's got to be one of the sickest Xenomorph games we've seen in a very, very long time before coming out of the tunnels here. Didn't really have a whole lot of info as to where survivors were. I think we just saw a little bit of lingering footsteps heading over towards the shack. How do you reckon this one's going to go, Kerry?
Well, I'm thinking if Xeno can get 6 babies on Scratchmere and Myers for Team Elysium, I'm sure Zaka, in my opinion, the best killer out there. He was so good for Eternal in DBDLeague Season 8, but now playing against them, I'm sure he's going to be a match to get more than 6 stages. But like we saw, as our hosts and Rats pointed out, Survivor team play can be everything. It was so big in the game before, and with those flamethrower placements, anything can happen against this killer. This killer is still new. Things are still happening. Snowballs, clutches, anything can happen right now, and we're seeing Zaka being bombarded by flames.
Yeah, I think we just heard this turret getting set up as well. That was Magic setting up the flame turret near the shack. Nearly pulling Zark out of power, but not quite. We have the add-ons to be prepared for that. As we're sort of looking around the truck here, I think we have some suspicions that there's someone in the area here pre-leaving another active generator around this tile here. We do have another flame turret to have to deal with. Eternal have really put their time into getting these turrets set up very early on, and it's really interesting to see.
I mean, are they doing any gens, or are they just going around building turrets on the map? So Zach has been hit by 3 already. Normally we see them towards the later stages of the game, but no, we're seeing them early here, and our first hit finally coming in. He's had to deal with flamethrowers, but now he can apply damage onto Buzzsaw. I remember our Myers from the first set for Team Elysium, for Team Eternal, who's making his way round to this pretty narrow filler palette and just gets caught out by basic mind games. M1 down, no terror required, and he's going straight onto the hook.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, obviously, if we do get that pain res hook to stop that first gen from getting completed. We see Excise has a gen very close. Dan getting off his gen early to let the pain res hit so that Excise can pop the other gen. Really, really nice.
Yeah, I think they were they wanted to get certain gens done ahead of time, so they're happy to sacrifice pain res on the main shop gen in order to make sure it didn't happen on another one. Yeah, pain res hits that one instead, and then they can get all their gens done. I think it's the perfect time to bring in Rats for that. He can maybe explain that play a little bit more.
For sure. So a pain res like this, if you have a 3-gen pressure already, that's maybe the hook is nearby. Like in this case, for example, I believe there was a hook like on the opposite side of shack, like further away with the hook, so that would have been a 3-gen setup. And they want to make sure that that gen gets popped, so they would just straight up aid the painers on a different generator, in this case main building, to make sure that this gen pops and doesn't get proposed the result, right?
There we go. Thank you, Rats. I mean, you're the star of the grand final so far, helping us when we are so far out of our depth because these players are so much better than us. I'm just your P20 Bill main. But thank you, Rats, for that little explanation on the pain res generator. As the pain res hook takes Bulbasaur to second stage now. The save will come in about 40 seconds. You know, because now they've hit second stage, you don't have to rush in. You can get it a little bit later.
Yeah, there is a little bit of downtime before this elimination does happen, but Zarka is really well, methodically picking up on when our survivors are going to be rotating in to go for that pull there. We do get a 3rd gen getting completed in the distance, though, consequently, but Dan has been caught out trying to go for that save onto Bovo, and we got to be mindful of this, though. If we do go for a 1-for-1. It will be another pain res hook, whether or not Zaka continues for the tunnel out onto Bubba. So it's a very scary and precise spot for Eternal to be in, but they get the 4th gen done and have 2 people coming in for the save. Zaka with the body block as well will still be able to get the trade-off. Tail attack. Like, we get the down onto Nancy, maybe? Onto the Magic? And
Yeah,
there it is! Oh my goodness!
Yeah, they had to get the down there onto the Magic, and denying balanced landing from procking properly, able to get the M1 on them before they could bounce away, and it's going to get another pain res hook back onto them. Crucially, something to note there is the survivors had to save if they want the win condition, because if they let them die, nowhere's going to be an end game. You know, if they decide just to go on the generators instead, no, it's going to be on end game. That's almost a guaranteed 3 stages. It could be worse, so they had to get the save there. They're going for it, they get it done, but 2 people will get injured for it.
Oh, and we've just come across Bubba Zava over here at this truck pallet over near the shack. This is our Dead Hook survival, obviously, and Zaka going for an insane tail attack that almost connected, but not quite. I think we need to continue this chase. Oh, actually, no. Going back to the hook instead.
Wow, yeah, I'm surprised he's not going for the hook there, because what you could have is a elimination onto Bubsville if he gets it done, you know, quickly, and then he can go for a fresh survivor. That gets him 7 stages, and crucially, the win. But he might be thinking about getting 3 fresh hooks with 6 stages. That could be a variation he's looking for, or maybe he's just trying to protect his gens and find the most optimal way to knock these survivors down. We're going to have to see as he emerges out of this tunnel into the middle shop and smacks a destroyed flamethrower.
Yeah, gotta deal with those turrets. We do catch our Bobo once again towards near the main building, following up on his scratch marks. We heard his grunts of pain just earlier, but I think Zaka has bigger things in mind. It goes back towards the gen setup, knowing that with all these gens being localized to this area of the map, we can definitely keep the pressure up and get some chases onto fresh and healthy survivors, and even get some pain resets, but bonk with their head on coming out.
Yeah, Xenomorph not quite flipping back around onto their back like we've seen with Chucky in the PTB, but it's going to feel that way to Zaka because this is a big find onto Dan, and he wants to get it down early. This is a new fresh hook, so if we end up with tied hook stages, we move on to our final win condition, which is the amount of fresh hooks, because I'm assuming all 5 gens are going to pop here. Here comes the Magic, knowing that they are less valuable than Dan is, and manages to take the body block. Oh, with the adrenaline, they get straight back on their feet, and he whips the F1. Oh no, this has gone so badly for Zaka. He's only got 3 stages, and now he has to find a fresh survivor in order to secure the draw.
Yeah, this is such a delicate position to be in. That's so awkward. We have to chase up to Dan at the very powerful window at the main building with the breakable door not being broken just yet. But the vault to the inside gives Zaka the chance to break the door and continue this chase. The doors should be getting ready to go very soon. We see the Magic coming in to straight up take the down for Dan in order to allow the first survivor to get out. The doors are getting open. The tail attack doesn't come through.
Yeah, down onto the Magic is not enough here. That's only 2 stages. He needs 3. He needs Dan. And once he gets it down, he still has to ensure that that survivor dies. This is the biggest chase of Zaka's life here for Elysium to take them 2 sets up over Eternal in the grand finals of the All Hallows League. Dan now standing here, watching each spot so carefully, so delicately, and the heal's coming in. Zaka needs to make a move.
Yeah, and we see Magic singling to make a move as well as our survivors are going for the gate here. Zaka trying to secure those last stages needed towards the end of the trial here. Pretty sure it's scouting out there. Oh, wait, the survivors are going to be going for a hatch play. Has he lost track of Bubba?
What happened?
Oh,
he lost Bubba, but it doesn't matter because Bubba's, you know, on death. Anyway, that's only 1 stage. He's lost it. That's over. Eternal clutch up and taking 1 back. I don't know what happened with Zaka there. He just seemed to lose the survivors, or maybe I've got no idea, Spoker. No idea what just happened there.
Yeah, but that being said and done, that's the 2nd set point going to Eternal, who have managed to obviously take a set point back over Elysium, putting us at a set point each. And I'll quickly take us over to the hosts, who are going to give us a brief discussion about what we just saw in this trial here, but I'll hand them over to you now.
It is one set apiece in the grand finals. Remember, it's a best of 7. Elysium taking the first set on tier 1 Scratch Mirror Myers, but Eternal bounced back with possibly, arguably, a Zaka blunder on Xenomorph. We don't know, but we know the result, which was that Eternal got the set back. So it is one apiece, and now we're going into the most oppressive, the most terrifying killer in the game that makes you DC the second you hear her blink across the stage. It's the Nurse.
Oh wow, what a hit onto Bobo across that pallet space. Really nice for Xeno. Getting a couple of tags starting off this trial here. And I'm really intrigued. I believe it's called Jenna's Last Breath, but I'm so prepared to get yelled at by the team. Beautiful down on Bobo at the pallet here. Very quick down, as you would normally expect to see on the Nurse. But the Jenna's Last Breath is a very powerful add-on that allows you to sort of hold the 3-gen later on in the game. So it's insane. You guys are going to see when it comes into play. But first hook onto Bobo, and the first stack of Dying Light will start to accumulate.
Yeah, it's where you, if you don't know what Jenna's Last Breath does, once you use all your blink charges, you can kind of teleport back to your original position and go again. So yeah, it's super interesting, and I like the change to it, especially the old add-ons we used to have in this game. But I will stop talking as Dan takes the hit as he takes Bubsor off the hook, and now we're getting into the chase, holding that blink just a little bit. Oh, we don't blink very far because of the big object in the way, and now a blink to the wrong spot allows Bubsor a little bit of distance and a little bit of time to get towards another tile.
And just trying to get line of sight there. We do see Bobo off in the distance. Beautiful blinks by Xeno, but the dead hard is gonna come through, allowing Bobo to waste so much more time up in this carnival part of the map. But we do hear there is a carnival gem with a decent amount of progress. The return blink catches Bobo completely off guard, and Xeno doesn't quite get that next blink off for the down. But what a really good use of Jenna's right there.
Yeah, it was really nice and almost got the quick down, but it doesn't matter because Bulbasaur goes down eventually. But as we saw in that last game, right, with the pain res, every second matters when you're playing at this level with the two best teams. Every split second matters. So that positioning there from Bulbasaur, able to take the dead hard and then dodge Jenna's Last Breath, is big for his team. Pop goes onto this gen, but there'll be gens across the map, I'm sure, ready to burst.
And there, just as you predicted, Gary,
so good,
there's the first gen getting completed as tradition, with the second one not too far away as well. Not so much on the third generator from what we can see, but Xeno getting some good eyes on the prize up on top of the hill here. Really good visual across a lot of the chapel, and just holding that blink, being able to just blink at the hook if anyone is going for the pull here. We also do see Bitter Murmur is going to be coming into play as well, so we know who it was that completed that gen. Xeno can roam around a bit with Jenna to return back to the original blink position, and here we see Pedro trying to come in for the pull. The tag comes through, the rescue will happen onto Bobo, but it will be a 1-for-1 with Pedro, and Xeno is just going to be taking it and running.
Yeah, and I thought we might have got a little extra chase into Bulbasaur, but no, takes that and knows he can catch back up to Bulbasaur. Nurse's mobility is ridiculous, and there we go. We're straight back on it. We can spot him from on top of that perfectly positioned hill for Xeno, who is now going to blink full range across the map. A little flick as we enter into the pallet gym. Bulbasaur holding W though, getting as far away as possible. That was back in the perfect. Oh, but the dead hard gets weighted out, and Bulbasaur goes down. No flashlight here to save him, and onto the hook for the final time goes Bulbasaur. He is out of the trial with 2 gens remaining.
He can't always be perfect with the variant, just like that. Oh my goodness, the reactions from Xeno to flick onto Dan right there was beautiful. We're going to be able to get another Pop Goes the Weasel, and that Dying Light slowly but surely becoming more of an issue, actually, not with Dan being hooked, as I believe Dan is Obsession, so no stack there. But obviously the pop is going to be detrimental to the gen progress at the moment as we catch out Pedro up in the carnival. Going to return back to the hook. And we do catch out the Magic, trying to come in for the save, thinking that it's safe. But no, my friend, you cannot.
Yeah, I just want to say what I love there about that play onto Dan is acted like we didn't know where Dan was, right? He was looking far in towards the carnival side, but they can see them with Bitter Murmur. Oh, here comes Pedro, gets the pallet down, gets the save. It's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. Oh, but it's just the M1, which means Nurse still has 2 blinks if they want to go for extra pressure onto Dan. No, they're going to take it onto Pedro, and now they're going to chase after Dan, or are they going to go for the Magic if they've got a read on where Court is? Going to have a little look around. Dan still safe here, and yeah, the Magic is all the way on the other side on this gen. But what I loved about onto that initial down onto Dan, acted like didn't see them with a bit of murmur, so that Dan kind of like let down their guard a little bit, and then flicked straight onto them. It was beautiful.
Exactly right, and I just want to say, in hindsight a bit, realizing now that Pedro does have the Unbreakable, Xeno going for the insta-picks onto Pedro and just taking the hooks, and being able to reset the blinks mid-chase here after messing up a chain of blinks there. But yeah, no, not letting the Unbreakable player be slugged for too long is a really good way of playing safe and making sure you're getting those hook stages. We get the rescue onto Pedro from the Magic across map, and this will be, I believe, second hook stage for Dan.
Yeah, this is going to be number 2. Yes, number 2. Well, we'll find out in just a second. Number 2, hook stage for Daniel. Spot on, spoke there. But yeah, denying the Unbreakable, and we saw the Dead Hard earlier. So with those top tier kind of perks mentioned, remember, Nurse is a tier 1 kill, which means survivors kind of get the best stuff allowed. They can have Unbreakable, Deliverance, Dead Hard, DS, all these, you know, top perks are going to be allowed against our Nurse because she is so good. Here we go, the 360 flick across the map, tries to fake it out with another flick up of the head on towards Pedro, who takes great pathing, goes through the vault though, but it's a little bit... Oh, I thought it was going to be in a tight spot there. Xeno knew exactly where he was. Oh, but gets the track through the wall. Beautiful awareness from Xeno. Gets another hit. Oh, and the grab. This must be DS.
And he slaps him with the D to be able to make it to this pallet space. Greets at the pallet, but doesn't get the stun. Really, really unfortunate from Pedro here. And Xeno should be able to try and find out where Le Magic was, because Le Magic was probably working on this gen if we had to guess.
Saw the scratch marks there.
Oh, and we do pick up on him.
Yeah, we saw we saw the scratch marks just like on the edge of the tree as the Magic was heading away. Good awareness from Xeno to know that the survivors they know they're not going to get anywhere out here. They were just trying to pressure that final gen, get a little bit extra towards that first win condition, which is so important. Pedro then, with the Unbreakable on DS, picks themselves back up. Xeno wasn't quite there for it to deny it straight away, but now here they come, and Le Magic can't really go for that bar gen unless Pedro does some crazy stuff, which it looks like he's doing around the carnival area. More of Jenna's last breath, and now we're hunting down Pedro. And what can Le Magic do on the other side? Can they get another gen done for the survivors? It all depends on Pedro, who's blinking around the trees. Le Magic is here trying to pressure that final gen. Jenna's last breath. I can't keep up, Spoker.
It's just like Xeno's keeping up with 2 chases at once here by using Jenna's breath. It's so cool to see. And Pedro going into the edge map here, going for the rocks. But Xeno does manage to blink through, doesn't get the blink eaten. Unbreakable already being used as well. We know we don't have to worry about that. Le Magic holding as much distance as possible, going over towards the shack side and either potentially going for the hatch escape or not. We're not too sure, but Le Magic definitely in a very difficult spot right now.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to make anything happen, especially as our Unbreakable onto Pedro has already been used. Xeno just going to make sure this gen doesn't get done behind his back. Check some lockers, but we can see Le Magic on the other side. And I think what the idea is, I mean, we can get Rats in to kind of talk us through this end game. Are we going to wait for Pedro to die and then head towards Shack Rats?
Potentially, yeah, but like you just got picked up, so that's a play now to just play for the hatch or for gate topside, I guess, right? But yeah, the option there that they still had was to just let Pedro bleed out, but then 99 the bleed out to not open the hatch by having bleed out, you know, blind bleed out, pick him up, so once he goes down again, they'll just bleed out immediately to give him the hatch for free. However, in this situation, the hatch escape doesn't really matter too much because of the win condition, as, you know, the 2 generators is much more valuable than the escape here.
Thank you, Rats. And yeah, you're absolutely right. I remember our primary win condition, if you haven't checked in a DBDLeague in a while, I haven't seen this event, our primary win condition is that first box you see in the top left of your screen, the amount of gens done. They only got 3 generators done. So if our other survivor team if our Elysium survivor team, I should say, can get more than 3 generators done, they will have won it. But if they get the same amount of generators done, this hook stage is denied from Le Magic by going out through the hatch will be the deciding condition. But that is all coming up in a little bit.
Alrighty, and after an excruciatingly long break, we are back with the second half of the Nurse set with Nightlight on the Nurse, and very interesting to see Nightlight bringing spies from the shadows, which is what we saw in Eternal versus Eonyx. Nightlight not opting for the Spies of the Shadows pick, but seeing how it worked for Eonyx, and they did end up losing that set, whether it be to the penalty or not, it was very close, but I really like this choice of perk.
It's a goated perk, and I respect anyone who runs it at home, and I'm going to respect Nightlight here as they're running it to find a little bit of information on a survivor they'd already spotted. Round the locker of the TNL wall. Takes a little bit of distance, and I thought we heard someone working on that gen. Zaka then probably trying to bait the chase away. Maybe they've got the chase build on them. They want to take the first down, get smacked, but Nightlight's not going to commit. Or is he?
Yeah, I think we saw Zaka running into the main building here. A reset coming through onto Xeno. So many tags in the start of this game here, and it's definitely going to be difficult for Elysium to keep up with not just the gen pressure, but the resets that have been coming out as well. So as this chase has gone all the way up into the circus, up into the edge map, the Blink getting eaten a bit by the tree. Zaka gets to waste a little bit more time before taking the down up in the top edges of the map. We have the Survivor team basically fully reset at this point, as Zaka is going to be going up on the hook for the first time.
Yeah, and Zaka is our decisive strike player, so I'm sure they're fine by taking that first chase. And up onto they go, and maybe it was a little bit of distraction while they're on that generator with Deja Vu, adding 6% on. Another beautiful perk you can run at home with Spies of the Shadow. Look, people jumped on today expecting Comp DBDLeague to see the sweatiest perks, but we've got Spies from the Shadows, Deja Vu. I'm having a great time here watching this Nurse game, which is a sentence I never thought I'd say. And Nightlight finds V1, but tries to blink back to another survivor working on this gen. Hop Goes the Weasel will be applied just to slow it down a little bit, 25% of the current generated progress. That gets applied, and now he's going to head back towards the hook.
Yeah, going back to make sure that hopefully the second stage does come through for Team Eternal, but we haven't really spotted out anyone coming over just yet, and I think Nightlight realizes that too. He's been keeping eyes on the sidelines, double checking around the area for any last second pulls from our Unbreakable player. And yeah, oh, we do see, we have Ace running in now. This is Grenout coming in for the 1-for-1 here. I would have to assume Unbreakable coming into play if we were to commit to the chase onto Zaka here. But I think, honestly, Nightlight can afford to do it with how little distance Zaka is going to be getting here.
This is going to be interesting because we've got Grenout with Unbreakable, but also Zaka with DS, so it's a question time on who you want to go for, and Nightlight picks the correct option, going to deny Unbreakable by taking Grenout straight onto the hook. DS will get weighted out just a little bit then, so you don't get hit with that. Remember, Zaka's still just on the first stage, so it's not the worst thing in the world if they get hooked once again. Generator pops, and this other generator should be pretty close. There it goes. 2 generators down. Remember, if they can complete 2 more generators, that's it. It's the win. Nothing else matters. Generators are the most important part.
Oh, wait, but this is really big for Nightlight, though. Spotting out Xeno, trying to rotate in to go for the pickup onto the slugs. This is going to be really, really awkward for Elysium. And Nightlight just, re-establishing where our slug is positioned. Zaka crawling over towards the main building. The rescue does happen, though, however, onto Grenout. I would assume that'd have to be V1 going for the pull. And Xeno tries to go for the pallet stun, but the blink bag dodges it.
What a piece of tech there. Jenna's last breath, the natural enduring built into that add-on. That's pretty crazy. I like that play there. Spies from the Shadows, pretty big there actually for Nightlight. Knows there's a player lurking, and I wonder if the survivors will start to piece together. It doesn't decide to capitalize from it. Goes for V1 instead. The blink is not long enough. No more range for you. We've got the mangled add-on instead. And yeah, we're looking around this gen to see if there's anyone here. We're going to apply a pop to a 5% gen. No, we're going to go back towards the hook.
As we should be doing. I'm not too sure who we see getting the rescue in the distance just there, but our good old friends, the Crows, are giving us some info onto where our survivors are running off to. And here we see, that's Arca once again. So this is our tunnel out that Nightlight's going for here. Going to be fairly on pace with what we saw in the last game as well. With Xeno on the Nurse, going for that tunnel out at 3 gens remaining. And yeah, this is where things start to get extra interesting.
Yeah, we got DS in play, remember. That's going to happen now. Hit your skill check, Zaka. There we go. But it's against the Nurse. You only get 3 seconds. They're going to blink straight back onto you. And what a fantastic perk it is. Oh, does not need buffing. Nightlight takes Zaka down straight away. But every second matters, right? It's only Pop Goes the Weasel in play now for gen regression. Well, we've got Dying Light and the start. There's one gen. Just one more gen to go. And this will be a win for Elysium.
Yeah, but we need to be so careful of this 3-gen setup that Nightlight has been holding up in the top side of the map here. We do see V1 pre-leaving as well, trying to get away. We hear that the gen has a pretty substantial amount of progress around the 50% mark, but gonna get hit by the pop. But we have Gurnout working one of the gens inside the carnival, and Xeno working the main building gen even while injured. This is the perfect kind of pressure that Elysium needs to be putting out right now. And Nightlight sort of now realizing that this gen in the circus, beautiful blinks onto Granout though, is the one that has more progress, and the pop might have been a bit misplaced here. But as we pressure Granout off of this gen, oh, not quite going to be able to get the pallet, son.
Yeah, that's a huge down there, and if we can get a hook on, we get our Pop Goes the Weasel back. We just got to get to this hook pretty quickly. We didn't have the best spawns there, and I've got to reiterate as well, yes, okay, we got this 3-gen, which is pretty close, but they only need to get one more gen, so they can go for main as well. A little bit scary against the Nurse. Nightlight is going to need to protect with Pop. Which one does he apply it to? He sees one survivor there, and it's going to have a pretty good idea of where the other one is. These are critical moments now in the grand finals. Can he get this down on? The firecracker comes into play, but he gets the hit onto Granout anyway. Oh no, he does not. He doesn't.
No, Granout just got off the hook back to avoid the confusion there, but V1 doing an amazing job at having really good spacing, not allowing that tag to happen, as the pop needs to get applied before it gets wasted here. I think Xeno must have had a will make it or something. Takes the down here, got a really quick reset onto Granout, who's going to be able to get out of here, and the pop is going to run out before we apply it to the circus gen. This is starting to look less and less in Nightlight's favor here.
Yeah, these gens are just so close, but if we keep getting hooks, we keep getting Pop Goes the Weasel, and you can't keep going on the hooks forever. Once you hit 3, you're going to be eliminated. So here comes one more pop then for Nightlight. Going to apply it straight away, and can go straight after the survivor. This is looking dangerous now for Team Elysium, because remember, they've got to get someone out through the hatch if they're going to play like this, because if the gens are tied, it's the hook stages which count.
Yeah, but just real quick, Barry, I think they're still committing to that circus gen though, which didn't actually get popped. It was only a dry kick, so it still has a decent amount of progress. And I think Nightlight might now be starting to realize that, as we see Ace going in for the save as a Granout. We get the blink down onto V1 though. Gonna be like, and is Nightlight just gonna go for the hook to get the pop, or check up on the gen, because it is dangerously close.
It is. Everything is coming down to the wire, as it so often does between two big teams. These guys are at the top of their game. V1 picks up, gonna go onto another hook, and I think the big thing here as well is if this does come down to tied, if the Elysium can't get any more gens out, they need to get a fresh survivor out the door in order to tie the game, because the escapee for Team Eternal was fresh. So I think they have to get these gens done here, otherwise they're in a really, really tricky spot, and it'd be a miracle if they were able to tie the game. Here, Jenna's last breath, realizes can't get the distance onto Xeno, goes back towards the hook.
Yeah, and we can just hear how close this carnival gen is as it's about to take off. Pop Goes the Weasel. The gen just knew where V1 is hooked at the moment as well. Also had a decent amount of progress, but Nightlight has been able to catch up a bit, and I think have a more dominant position on the generators over by the top side of the map. The unhook has happened. I think the survivors of Elysium need to play this a whole lot slower if they want to be able to break this setup and get that 4th gen completed for the win con. But we can't ignore that the main building gen has been neglected for quite a while, as well as we take these chases onto our survivors around the edges of the map here.
Yeah, it's V1 again, caught around the edge of the map, but crucially they're far away from the necessary gens, so we're going to leave them slugged and head back to make sure nothing else is happening. That top gen's got a little bit of progress now. Granout is able to stealth away, and Xeno back on a far progressed gen. That one gets kicked. No pop there, because we haven't hooked V1 just yet.
I'm not too sure if going for the dry kick on the main building gen was really the right play here, and I actually kind of want to bring in Rats for this one real quick as well.
I was gonna say.
Would it have been better to wait for this hook onto V1. Obviously, time being a big issue here right now. Would it have been better to save the pop for that main gen or take it back to the top side?
I think it's the one to take the back to top side, because he's going to hook next to the generator on main anyways. So if he goes to camp that, they can't pressure main anyways. So if he probably just went there to check it to see how far it actually was, because he heard it was progressed, but to see how many, pistons were going on. So yeah, just checking on it, kicking it, and then just camping this, potentially using the pop on the different gen. That's more important right now.
Oh, thank you very much for that, Wrightson. We see the crows coming out. We know that Grenout is coming in here, and Spies from the shadows bringing in absolute work here. I love to see it.
I think I've got a suspicion that Xeno is just far on another gen, and that whiff is massive because we don't have enough time to go and pop that gen now. A down onto Grenout would have been it, but I think Xeno's committing to a gen far across to the other side of the map. I don't think they're going to be going for this. Remember, Mangled's in play, healing is not great, and Nightlight is realizing it. They're heading, no, they go back towards Grenout. What is Xeno doing?
I'm pretty sure Xeno must be working on one of those top gens. They can't go for the save onto V1 with how Nightlight's positioning here. But here we see Nightlight coming back over to the circus. Is it going to be worth it? This is an all-in for Elysium if they were committing to the gen. And here we see the dead on, and he gets the gen done. The 4th gen gets completed, and Elysium is going to be taking the Nurse set over Eternal.
Oh, that's a blunder from Nightlight. They blinked back with Jenna's last breath. Instead of getting there in time, they did not interrupt Xeno. There was a moment on the hill before where they saw Xeno working on the gen. They could have either missed it or decided it wasn't worth their time just yet, but mistimes it horribly. Gives Elysium that final generator, and now nothing else matters. That's it. It's 2-1 Elysium.
Wow, I genuinely can't believe how down to the wire this game has been, and I know the hosts are going to have a lot of fun talking about this in the campfire chat, but really, really well played to Elysium for taking this second set here, as the teams both know it. That 4th gen has given them the set point over Eternal here, and Nightlight, I think, just letting Grenout take the hatch escape here for the sake of time, and we appreciate you a lot for that.
With, I think, your favourite killer as well, Spoker. It's Billy. He's got a spade, he's got a chainsaw, and he's probably got a very, very quick down. Oh no, this could be so close. Oh no! Was that a crouch tech? Was that around the target time? I couldn't work that one out, Spoker.
I think that was just a sidestep back out of the way, knowing that Bubba was going to go for the flick there. Really, really well played by Xeno on the near here, trying to use this distance to make it over towards the shack. I don't know if we have the window on this side. I don't think so. Xeno knows that, and he's going to be playing just around the tiles here, trying to force a bump or something. But this is just going to be a back riff down for Bubba. No crouch tech, no nothing. And that's going to be our first down on the trial at a surprisingly quick pace, I would have to say, for a Billy game. Yeah, no window on this side of the shack, and we're going to be able to get a basement hook to start this trial off.
Yeah, very early down. I remember seeing in losers semi-finals, the Survivor team actually ended up waiting out Corrupt with stealth before our Billy was able to get any actions. And I'm very excited to watch Billy on Ormond because we've got the big areas. Billy is great at traversing on Ormond. Actually, you can kind of go around the whole map. If you run the spike boots, you can do laps of the map until the cows come home. But yeah, it's a great map for him as well because big moments can happen. If the Survivors blunder, it could be all over because Billy, as cool as he is, isn't the strongest of killers, and that's why we see him heading straight back to Shack.
Yeah, exactly right. Now, we can't really hype up Ormond all that much for Billy. There's obviously so many filler pellets, tiles, and utilities that the Survivors have in their arsenal to really hinder the progress of our Hillbilly friend, but I'm really curious to see. I believe the Survivors are definitely going to be opting to sit on the gens here and sort of let Xeno go to the second stage here. Not very willing to go for a basement hook save at the start of the trial. And as we swap over, we see Zaka on a Gen V1 rotating over towards the main building and the second generator getting completed.
Yeah, it's tough against the Billy because a lot of the time, Survivors kind of get the option to think, okay, are we going to go in for the 1-for-1 trade? Now that hook grabs aren't a thing. But that doesn't matter to Billy. He's got a chainsaw. He can insta-down you straight away and just rev it in front of the hook. So a lot of the times, if your Survivor's in a bad spot, you've just got to leave him there, which is why the first chase against Billy on Ormond is so big. And the fact that Xeno went down pretty early is pretty bad for Team Elysium.
Exactly right, and Bubba has just been able to capitalize on it perfectly. I think we're going to be seeing him straight up forcing the elimination onto Xeno here, having that first elimination with either 2 or 1 generators remaining, depending on how our Janta is looking at the moment. And I think Bobo can really only afford to get a total of about 7 stages with 3 fresh, given the pace of the game. But what do you think, Rats?
You caught me completely off guard. I wasn't listening. Can you repeat the question, please, again? I wasn't listening, sorry.
Oh, how do you think? Oh my goodness, sorry. Really nice low pro flick onto Zaka here. But do you reckon Bobo is on track for a 7-stage 3 fresh at this point of the trial?
I mean, honestly, this base, you might get more. There's still 2 gens left. The first down was really quickly on the basement and was secured, so I believe you're gonna get Zaka here, maybe even then 1 more stage after, and then the fresh hook. So maybe 8 stages, all freshes.
Oh,
It's wise to agree. It's wise to agree with Rats, and I have to, because that first stage was just so quick. But with that generator being done, Zaka denying the M1 down on him there, we could only just be looking at 6 stages if we get the hook, and then in endgame, nothing more. Because there goes the last generator. Bitter Murmur now allowing him to find V1. Nowhere down will be, Nowhere will be in play, and I'm sure the down will follow. In comes the extra speed. Can he make it there? Fakes the chainsaw. I don't think our ace is going to fall for that. This is one of the best survivors in the world. You can't be doing that against Grenaut, but gets the M1 on the unsafe pallet. The door gets opened, and will the rest of the survivors be evacuating? I think so.
Yeah, this is really unfortunate for Bobo here. Elysium made a really nice recovery, getting all those gens done really quickly, and our friends over on the hosting desk will be able to provide a lot more insight. But yeah, as Ras was just mentioning earlier, there was more on the table than a 7-stage 3 fresh here, but all gens getting done, 2 survivors out the door, 6 stages for Bobo's Billy. Thank you very much, Edgar, and welcome back in, everyone, to the Mount Ormond Resort, where we're going to be seeing Xeno on the Billy, taking a very early chase onto Bobazava, our Billy from the last game. Xeno looking for a bit of retribution here and taking this first chase onto Bobo, but also spotting out a survivor in the background as well. That's our quarter as well. That is Pedro getting caught out in a pretty awkward spot. Xeno not quite going to be going for a flick here, going for that bloodlust and maybe getting a tag, forces the pallet drop, which just only now comes through.
I wanted him to go for the curve on that so bad because we had such a short first game. That game was finished before it even got started. My poor Billy not getting his time in the spotlight on the grand final stage. Pedro takes the low pro through the pallet. He's now going to run away in towards the corrupted area. We can't bounce off these tables anymore thanks to Wesker and some patch notes. Oh, almost runs into that chainsaw linger, which we know is very much a possibility. But no, good spacing for Pedro. As now the flick is going to come in from Tino, trying to force it so they can get the low pro onto the side. Going to cancel it eventually and just go for the M1. Doubles back, round and round, and I'm getting motion sickness watching this. Oh, but it all works out. Kept the blood loss going, and Pedro had to make a play. Gets downed as they went for the pallet slam, and that's another pretty early hook against the Billy.
Yeah, and I think this time Xeno's not opting to go for the basement here, so I have to assume this will have to be a pain res hook right by the main building. I feel like even though it's not a basement hook, it's still a nice hook placement for Xeno, as it's near the main building generator and the little microsecond wall hacks you get when you break a breakable wall with low pro. Really nice to see Bobo getting caught out here. The chainsaw coming through, but not connecting. A beautiful crouch tech at the perfect time is not going to allow that to happen. We get the M1 onto Bobo, playing this Ormond tile, heading back over around. Going to go and play the pallet. I have to assume as Bamboozle comes through, Bobo has to go around the edge and make it over to the pallet, which he should be able to do in beautiful time.
Yeah, he kept good distancing there, good discipline, and doesn't drop the pallet as well, which could have been a crucial blunder because Lopros is going to chop that in half and chop you on the floor. Here it comes, it's still 99, and Bobo refusing to drop it. Now, if we don't use our chainsaw, we're going to build up the bloodlust. Here we are, onto 2 stacks. Now this can get very tricky to play. It's tricky enough without bloodlust, and down goes Pedro. Head-on wasn't quite there. They tried to make it all the way around, but it wasn't there, and now crucially, Dan has been exposed. The pallet gets broken, and an M1 tag onto Dan could be big.
That down through the head-on stun, Dan not quite being able to get it off in time. That is so unfortunate for Eternal Survivors, and Xeno is going to be able to capitalize on this beautifully, acquiring so many thresholds for the collection. He doesn't get it! Oh No, we also see Exercise lurking off in the distance as well, coming in for a pickup. I don't know if it's going to come through in time. The Ghost Saw comes through. Oh, it's the most beautiful thing when you play Billy to hit a saw hit like that. Getting that down once again back onto Bobo in retaliation from his performance on the Billy in the last game. But wow.
I mean, we are seeing some excellent ping here as well today. That saw through the window. We had some other interactions in our other sets, which has just shown that these guys must be pretty close to each other. Maybe they're playing next door to each other. The ping has been pretty nice for both our teams here. And yeah, you're right. That down onto Bubbasaw was really essential because he abandoned that slug to go after the chase onto Dan, who just managed to dodge death through the little hut, the mini shack as some call it. But no, getting the read down back onto Bubbasaw was really, really big. Unfortunately, couldn't get much more pressure on it. And remember, like most of our sets in the Grand Final Spoker, it was a 2k6 to start things off. 2k6, 6 stages, 2 fresh.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And we also saw that in Bobo's Billy game in the last game, he did have the potential to go for more here. Whereas right now, Xeno, I believe this is his second fresh hook, going for the extra stages. A little bit of a collision there. We'd love to see it as we catch out. This is going to be Pedro injured, running over towards the shack side. We get that second stage confirmed onto Bobo, putting us to 3 stages. Going back, though, to try and catch out someone, maybe going in for the save, catching them off guard, but I don't think Xeno spots out anyone. It is a barren wasteland here as our survivors are pressuring the objective and going for similar gem pressure that we saw the Elysium survivors go for.
Yeah, not in that locker, Xeno. Speaking of Xeno, I want to talk about how this is very similar to our Xenomorph set we saw earlier. The fact that we had, well, not anymore because he's got the down onto Pedro. I was going to say he could have got 6 stages with 3 different survivors because we had that 1 stage onto Pedro and then 2 onto Bubbasaw, so 3 stages on the new survivor. But Pedro goes in knowing they are the least valuable survivor. No offense, Pedro. Takes the down instead of Bubbasaw. And we should be looking at a pretty similar scoreline just for now. If Pedro can go down and then we find Bubba again, that will be a tie.
But the thing is, though, Xeno does have the potential to get that 7 stages needed, as we are on 1 gen remaining. We've got 4 stages split amongst 2 different survivors. Finding a fresh hook survivor in the endgame, whether it be with Nowhere or not, we are spotting out Dan here, though. If we do find that fresh hook survivor, we're going to be able to get the 7 stages needed. Beautiful low pro tag onto Dan here as the chase tries to go away from the gens, which is, funnily enough, split up on the opposite side of the map from the shack side, where it's more common to see more gens being a lot more grouped up.
No, this is really dangerous, and we could even see like Nowhere Totem RNG happen if Dan goes down quickly. Lovely movement there with from Xeno through the pallets, completely zones Dan, and this should be a down if he's gonna, yes, makes him go the long way round. Oh, but in comes Bobo with a crucial body block, knowing if Dan goes down, they have to play an end game against Noah to prevent Dan from going straight out on his first 3 stages. They cannot allow 7 stages. Bobo goes down, which means he can't help working on the gens. I'm sure the other 2 are plowing on with it. There they go, but no, in comes Pedro. Oh, but the body blocks don't quite happen. Dan goes down, and now, I thought they were going to apply more pressure by getting Pedro down. Dan goes onto the hook, and now they have to cleanse Noed or do something to make this work, because they've got to save Dan. They cannot let him get slugged. Here is Pedro trying to help out, trying to do anything, but they're injured. It doesn't matter, there's no Ed. This is super difficult now for Team Eternal.
Yeah, and our producer is just letting us know that 1 more stage would get us to that win con because of how many fresh hooks we saw.
You're right.
And with this hook here, I think with the elimination onto Bubba, that's 6 stages, 3 fresh. That's the win con meant for Elysium, who are going to be taking the Billy set in a really spectacular finish. But Xeno's not done yet. He's going to be stopping Petro from getting out as well. He's going to move his way back into the map and accept his fate. What an insane performance by Xeno here. Beautifully played, and another set point on the board for Elysium. They're going to be feeling amazing right now.
It feels like every set we've had have come down to the wire. So many tiny interactions, and that's all that can separate these 2 teams. That body block just didn't quite happen. They headbutted each other, and now they're going to be headbutting their desks because that game was so winnable for Team Eternal. And they couldn't quite make it happen. The gen was so close. Didn't work out for them. We don't have any adrenaline because Billy is not that good a killer. But yeah, that was a tough one. we are back! And Elysium on the cusp of victory. We spot out the magic straight away. The hatchet comes out. Here comes the 50-50. Or it's not really a 50-50. It's more of a checkmate situation. La Magic takes the first hatchet, and this could be a quick down. Doesn't even give me time to say what I wanted to say at the start of this. It is a beautiful shot, long range, and La Magic hits the deck straight away. And we're looking for another one. Could be instant pressure. No, didn't quite get it. Would have been nice if we did, but we're just going to take the hook onto La Magic. And Spoker, if Xeno puts up another fantastic performance, he could set up his team to snatch the trophy away from Eternal.
Yeah, no, I've seen Xeno on the Huntress in the past, and we have seen some ridiculous performances from him. So this is exactly who you want to be playing killer for Elysium right now, to be securing a victory in the grand finals. La Magic hooked in the basement. That is just pretty much, thanks for playing La Magic. It was nice seeing you, but it's going to be tough getting out of there. We are seeing Xeno actually positioning away from the basement, though, being able to get some pressure on the gens, and the 7% of the skill check coming in on Dan's side here. A little bit of free regression. And we get that tag at the pallet. Really beautifully played. No drop of the pallet, though. Good patience from Dan in a near-death situation. But Xeno does follow it up with an M1 for a nice, another quick down. Still at 5 gens remaining, though. Should be able to get a pain res here.
Yeah, we're seeing the power of Huntress and why she is a tier 2 killer, so we do have some of the strong perks on our survivors, like Decisive Strike. We get our exhaustion perks, we get some good healing perks in. But yeah, this is a really, really rough start for Eternal. And, you know, their tournament life's on the line here. The grand finals, the chance for honor could be fading away. The M1 tries to come in, but La Magic has the speed boost and makes it safely to the pallet. Xeno just has to whiff that one and settle for the plank of wood next to the pallet, which isn't going to get dropped. The hatchet gets pulled up. This could be a double tap if we're not careful. No, pallet goes down and makes it around the corner.
But with this tag onto Bobo and La Magic and Deepwood as well, obviously the Deepwood time is a little bit of time away. We've got fresh hooks on 2 different survivors, so we don't have to go for one specific survivor to get that tunnel out. And I think that's the luxury for Xeno right now. We have the first gen getting done in the distance, but Xeno can really go for either Dan or La Magic if we want to get a tunnel out happening and get that first elimination. So very comfy position for Elysium right now, but there's still every opportunity for Eternal to claw back here.
There is, but someone's going to need to step up massively for Eternal if they want to, you know, give themselves the best possible chance when they go on to kill themselves in the second half, because it's been a really positive start for Xeno. And Team Elysium, they're 2 sets up on Eternal. Eternal can't be affording to make any more mistakes, and these chases need to be immaculate. Here we go then. La Magic taking this 110 round the edge, crouches and just about dodges the hatchet. That's a lifeline.
Yeah, and with that, Xeno's got no more hatchets, needs to reload before committing to this chase onto La Magic, who should be able to make it to this pallet near the main building here, as well as the dropped one at the back of main. So I think Bloodlust is going to be the play here if we want to get this down. We hear gens getting done in the background. This is the opportunity that Eternal needs to be seizing on right now to get these gens done.
Yeah, and I wonder if we're going to maybe get a hit in. No, they're just going to plow on with the generators. Really good effort from La Magic. Does eventually go down over the top of the pallet. Close one, but I'm sure Xeno had the spacing on that. And for that good chase, for that missed hatchet on the filler by main building, not this one, the one on the other side, they get 2 generators done. Pain Res is going to take its time, and it's not going to be that effective because the generators won't be that far progressed. We've got ruins set up as well.
Exactly, and the room being up in the main building as well. Xeno with his chase onto La Magic has been able to keep that totem alive for as long as possible. The reset coming out from Bubazava and Dan inside of the shack. I think Xeno might be able to get over there and pressure it soon. But holding up hatchets, winding up, going for cheeky cross-map shots onto gens and common reset spots, trying to get some sort of a tag. We can afford to do this, though, given that we need to guard our ruin totem, set up the main building a bit more, and the resets are going to come through regardless. Xeno needs to go for this reload and play it a little bit slow here as we confirm this elimination onto La Magic.
Yeah, I want to quickly ask Rats here, just while we are kind of confirming our stages, do the survivors even think about trying to go in for the save here, or are they going to be straight on their generators?
I think they're going to be set on the generators. Saving against Huntress, especially if they're camping, it's just going to end up in a trade. And that's the painless as well, so you don't want to give up stages if you don't need to, and just working on the generators is a better option here.
Yeah, fair enough. And we actually saw that Dan running away while he was on his generator and actually blew up as well, so that's an unfortunate bit of progressive progression on his generator lost as he ran away towards Funbus. Xeno confirms La Magic out of the game. As Spoker said, thank you very much for playing. They got a little bit more out of it from when they were hooked in the basement, but now they are back in their chairs. They can only watch what is about to happen to their team as Xeno hunts Bubbo round this floor.
Oh, a really nice read from Xeno, though, aiming for the... As you should, sorry, with the Huntress. And going for a really nice shot onto the bus here, though, getting caught by the rear view mirrors, though, not quite being able to connect. And this chase onto Bubbo is allowing the Ruin to regress. Oh, wait, the Ruin's been cleansed, actually. Never mind. No, the Elimination! I keep forgetting with the change to Ruin. When a survivor gets eliminated, the Ruin deactivates. So there's no Ruin being applied to that gen anymore. And honestly, I feel that's a very fair and honest mistake. For me to make.
No, fair enough. I mean, I completely forgot about it as well. I thought they must have cleansed it and we missed it. Xeno hunting this down, goes for the M1 swing, but Bubba brave on the W key. Goes back around, but can't make it the second time. This time, Bloodloss is in play, gave them that little bit of distance they needed. But there's another gen getting completed. Pain Res isn't going to stop that one. And there's another one by this hill. So many gens, so close. Has to kick and has to send Nightlight away before they can hook.
Yeah, and with the other gen popping in the distance, we know that there's no survivors in position for the pallet save. We're just so close from being able to make that. That is so scary. Now, is this a Pain Res hook up on the hill here? No, it's not. But going to the insta-save here. Playing it so greedy, and Xeno is going to try to capitalize on this. Gets the down, knows where Nightlight is, who completes the generator. Playing for the gen win con here, gets the unhook as well. This is insane. The clawback from Eternal to get to this point here. Nightlight taking the aggro away as Xeno needs to try and get as many hook stages as possible in this scenario. 4K still on the table though. We have an injured survivor in the area as taking the aggro here for the team. Xeno being forced to reload is going to allow Bubbo to get away there and maybe go for a door.
Yeah, I'm sure. So at least one of them is going to be heading towards the door. But that was such an insane play by the Hill. And I'm so tempted to say it was a genius play from Dan to take the aggression, to take the Huntress off the top of the hill. Nightlight gets the gen done. They get the save. It's just another hook for Xeno, but they get everything else done. I mean, I'm sure our hosts and our analysts, Rats, will discuss it later. Meanwhile, we've got to see out the end of this end game because that door isn't going to be done just yet. So Xeno is going to be trying to stalk down the survivor who was working on it, and I think it was an injured Bubbo.
It is indeed an injured Bubbo getting caught out at the tile right next to the door as Nightlight tries to get into position to get for this rescue. Xeno does have eyes on two places at once though, does see where Nightlight is coming in from, which does give Bubbo a bit of time to be working on that door. And I think Nightlight, being a fresh hook survivor here, is who Xeno is going to want to be going for here, so it doesn't really need to worry too much about Bubbo, just needs to make sure that that save doesn't happen. And as Bubbo is sort of poking and prodding a bit, ducking his head into the trial a bit more here, this save might be happening onto Dan, or Bubbo will be taking the down to allow Nightlight to get out potentially.
I don't think they go for this. I don't think they can go for it anymore. There's just too little time. It feels just too risky in order to go for it. Nightlight making his way all the way around main building, and could be tricky unless he's... No, I think he's going to go play for Hatch. Well, this could actually be still quite a spicy endgame. He's going to be sitting on Hatch. And yeah, when Xeno closes, he's going to be able to run away. So Xeno's going to have to take aggression here. Almost finds that M2 and could have loaded up with a follow hatchet attack. But now Nightlight has too much distance. The one over the top isn't going to land. Nightlight dodging out the way, knows that one's coming, and it's going to be two survivors out of the door. A great performance from Eternal.
Thank you very much, Edgar, and welcome back, everyone. Once again to the Wretched Shop, this time Pedro on the Huntress for Eternal, with the set point being on the line here. Elysium survivors needing to only allow 6 stages to happen, and a beautiful stun from V1 to start off the trial here, taking the chase over towards the main building. A good place for our first chase to be going. We need to be mindful of where those corrupt gens are, and I don't think the chase is going to continue as we've caught out Zaka inside the main building.
Yeah, that's big, but he does get the vault away, and it looks like that could have possibly been life as well, as Zucker sprints away round the main building. And we saw in the early game, this can be pretty difficult for the Huntress. A 110 kill, if you can't ready up your hat trick in time, it can take a long time to catch up the survivor all the way around, especially if you run out. Zucker then weaving back and forth, and Pedro is just walking him down. He goes all the way around to here. There's no pallet on this filler tile. just for now, so he's going to have to try and work his way back towards the short wall. Dodges that one. It's a long wall, which means he has this vault here, but he can't vault it because Huntress is ready with her hatchets. And Zaka is just making Pedro look like they've picked up the game for the first time because they're missing every single one.
Yeah, Zaka's doing a beautiful job here at methodically dodging out all of the hatchets and also keeping the chase in the corrupt area of the map as well to allow the rest of the survivors to keep working on the objective here. Really nice window of is definitely going to be able to try and zone Zaka out in a really awkward spot here, but the edge map filler is going to be coming out here. Zaka still has resources to play with, and Pedro messes up the swing. The first 2 generators are getting completed. Pedro, you got to lock in, mate.
Yeah, this is the ideal start for Elysium, and they could be ready to take that Grand Finals trophy for the All Hallows League 2023. Zaka gets the stun onto Pedro on the wrong side, which means he gets the vault again. A disgusting setup for Zaka, who is playing it to perfection. The reload comes in. Zaka is still lurking around. He doesn't want to leave. It's been so good for him, and why would you? Here we go then, round towards the edge of the map, and if he just dies edge here, he would have done wonders for his team, and that's what it looks like he's doing. He's going to go down at the edge of the map. What a performance from Zaka, betraying his old team Eternal by taking a fantastic chase against Pedro.
Beautiful stuff is all that really needs to be said here. Zaka absolutely going crazy. Now, both of our Huntresses have opted to pick the Agitation and Pain Res combination here, but Pedro playing it a bit different here with the No Way Out, and I think at this point, maybe playing for those No Way Out stacks and then going for either a fresh at the end after getting a total of 3 fresh before gens get done. It's a tough task for Pedro to be able to meet the win con, and these are the sort of things you need to be thinking about in this scenario. We do spot out another survivor over by, I think, the reformed Lego tile, as we like to call it, as it did get its rework quite some time ago. But this is going to be Grenout taking the chase here with the pallet space to utilize perfectly, awarding the stun and sending Pedro back towards the hook to try and hunt for more.
Yeah, this is rough, and it's so rough for Pedro as well. It's their first killer set of the Grand Finals. The rest of the killers have just kind of been alternating between the two. He's come on fresh, and it's just not making things happen right now. A 2k7 is what he's got to live up to, and he's only got 2 gens remaining with just 1 stage and no active chase. Here we go, finally onto V1, and we've got to start hitting these shots. There's one of them. That's what we needed, and now Pedro can try and play this L wall favorable for the Huntress. Mind games it, but that might allow V1 to disconnect. No, they stay on the L wall, and now here comes the 50-50. How's it going to play? Pedro loses it, and now we're going round once again. Can he find the opening here onto V1? The gen gets completed right in the background. V1 dies towards the edge of the map, and this final gen in main building is so close to being done. The pain res has to come in if Pedro wants to keep Eternal's dreams alive in the Grand Finals.
Yeah, but with the double up on the main building here, I don't know if that pain res is going to hit in time. It's ever so close. The final gen does get completed before the pain res can even come through. V1 did end up getting hooked on the pain res here, and it just couldn't come through. Only 1 stack of No Way Out to work with. Only 2 stages on the board for Pedro. And I don't want to call it early, but I think Elysium have put on such an impressive performance here that they might just be able to get away with it and take the victory over their longtime rivals, Team Eternal.
Yeah, for years we've had Eternal dominating, always taking Elysium out in the finals, but now it's Elysium's time with Zaka the trade. Drops the flashlight, it's actually Xeno, sorry, in chase right now, but it was Zaka's chase at the start of the game that did it for Team Elysium. He plays killer, he plays survivor, he's a jack of all trades, and his commodity is gold, but is what he's winning for Elysium. A beautiful M2 through, but now we're trapped in Shack. If we can duck down into the basement, doesn't even need it. Xeno dodges.
Oh, and Pedro doesn't hit the follow-up hatchet at the Shack pallet either. The doors are getting open. The survivors are taking the exit. And Elysium is going to be confirming the win here. No hatch escape for Xeno, though. That is curtains for Eternal as Elysium takes the crown, as you're going to be your victors for the All Hallows League 2023. $900 for first place, $100 as a second prize consolation prize for Eternal, but that is the game. Really, really well played by Elysium, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be very excited to see Elysium taking the crown over Eternal.
Yeah, this move from Zaka from Eternal to Elysium has done wonders for the team. They take the top prize, and it's been so well deserved. They have been dominant throughout the league. A 3-1 on Eternal in the winners finals. 2-0 over Tremor, 2-0 over Misery. All these established teams, and there's not been a problem. They have not been phased. Elysium throughout this entire competition have been so dominant and deservedly take the 4-1 set victory over Eternal in the grand finals. The All Hallows League is theirs. We're going to hand over the host to Outro and maybe break down that last game.
Yeah, thank you very much. Carrie and Spoker have done an absolutely phenomenal job today here in the grand finals, getting all this action live to you, doing an absolutely wonderful job. They didn't say the proper goodbye they necessarily wanted to, but it's fine. We can give them all the credit in the world. I mean, yeah, some things just aren't meant to last forever, apparently. And Elysium proving that here today with a 4-1 victory in the finals. A bit of a dominant performance there. Cole, I just wanted to ask you, that series as a whole, was that at all what you expected?
Honestly, that's about what I expected from the series. I think one of the recurring things that we saw was the Survivor team from Elysium seemed to be just a little bit more coordinated. And I think in most competitive settings, the Survivor team is generally going to have a little bit more say in the outcome of the match. We saw some really good killer performances from Eternal, especially from Nightlight. But I think the Survivor team from Elysium really showed up for this series.
Yeah, I mean, Elysium Survivor play. Once again, Eternal pulled out some really good things. They didn't go down without a fight, but at the end of the day, Elysium's team play was simply phenomenal. It was top notch, and I mean, I guess before we say our goodbyes, I wanted to go to Rats again. Obviously, that series, heartbreaker for Eternal. It was a night and day difference between what Eternal Killer and Elysium Killer could get done, but kind of went wrong there for Eternal on the killer side on that Huntress map. And why was it just an absolutely, disgusting bit of looping from Zaka?
That's just great chase. I don't know what else to add there. It's just I don't know how much I can over empathize how important the first chase is. It's always said it's just the first chase. As long as one person is in chase and not interrupting any generators, you'll have 3 people working gens the entire duration of that. And we have seen this game. We have seen the first person go down, got put in a hook on, I think it was 2 gens left or 3 gens left, but then again, there was like a whole bunch of new set of generators already progressed to like 30% already. That was just phenomenal. Well done by Zaka there to just keep looping on that one specific tile, staying there, not interrupting anybody, and just juicing a lot, squeezing every single bit of second out of the jungle gym connect to the edge map filler connect to the window of the jungle gym. That was a really great showing there.
Yeah, exactly. Probably a last sayonara there from Zaka to the former team, but more than happy to take that 4-1 win in the All Hallows League 2023 tournament. But we finally left this off. I just wanted to hand us over to Direwolf, I guess the head honcho, the man in charge of this whole thing, working behind the scenes. Direwolf, I think you had some words for, the producers, the players, and most importantly, everyone watching at home.
Thank you so much, guys. And yeah, welcome from me as well. I would like to have a short outro here from the side of the entire team. First of all, thank you today for the production, to all our staff, our match officials, the moderators in the Twitch chat, to our casters, and to our hosts, Cole, Ekta, Spoker, and Carrie. Thank you so much for hosting the show today, and I think we can all agree Eternal and Elysium so beautiful to watch. I just wanted to thank the entire team in the background for this insane tournament. It is always a huge project. That is, we started the All Hallows League at the beginning of September already, starting to shape some first ideas. Then is the big question, are we going for the picks and bans system again? This time we decided to decide the killers. Thank you in that regard to our rule committee putting up all these amazing killer pools, the balance, all the rules you see in place. And it's worth mentioning 68 people are working with us in any shape or form, from the artists that are producing the stream assets down to the Twitch moderators that are sitting here at the event days and making sure that everything is going great. So a lot of people involved, but nothing of it would be here if we wouldn't have a wonderful audience. Thank you so much, guys, for coming out every single time, even though there's a spectator bug that makes the stream almost unwatchable, us having difficulties with setting up the lobby. And yeah, we are aware that it sometimes takes patience from you when you have to wait 7, 8, 9 minutes until we are going into the next game. We promise you we are as quick as we can, but sometimes we have to load in 3, 4, 5 times. Then someone crashes, we have to reload, and there's sometimes, fortunately, not much we can do. However, we can do a lot, and we are listening to your feedback. We are aware that you like, for example, way more when there's action going on in the break. We hope you like the analyst and host solution. Once again, it was appreciated in Season 8. We are having a staff meeting next week. We will craft down new ideas for 2024. We're going to come up with improvements. We are already talking with artists about the winter event that is approximately coming out in January. We have some ideas for December, something chill, maybe even end November. We will inform you in case we're coming up with anything. I would like to ask you to join our Discord server to keep track of all the announcements we're doing, !Discord in the chat if you want to join. But once again, guys, thank you so much for supporting us and suffering with us through the difficult times and enjoying the games with us when they're running smoothly.